Yeah, fucking good.
Question you one cigarette. Gosh.
Yo, big up yourselves. Eyes here with none other than my man Fernando.
Shut up.
And we's talking about...
No, fuck off, mate. Go in the shop quickly, now.
We's at the Moron Church. I have to ask, does you believe in Mormon?
Nah. Pick it up one beer for me.
One beer. Can we do...
Two beer, now.
Two...
Quickly.
Yeah. So in terms of literacy and lateral thinking, my stance is that the Christian or the theologian of any of the Abrahamic stripes, and especially these flea masons trying to unify everyone, are laterally contradicting their own sex. So, you know, evolution wires you to love and mate. The belief in being created in the image of God is amounting to one man and one woman in a garden and floryard and fucking incest. Who did Adam and Eve's kids fucking have kids with? And oh, why pedophiles exist? What a surprise! So they laterally contradict that. They even get surprised that they're making pedophiles. Is my first case in point that this lateral contradicting of their own sex drive is making them stupid beyond reproach. I also submit it makes them externally susceptible to a variety of scams and internally susceptible to a number of various illnesses as well. And then there's the vampiric impersonator, like lash out at, or the one that loves the most. Find the ones that love the most, kill them and eat them in ceremonies. Kill them and conceal the killing of them, and then say that they gave their lives. Actually, if you pulverize a Christian's life and ruin it, what are their outs following Christ? They have one path where they have to confess or accept execution without confirmation of confession. The Gospel of Mark, Matthew and Luke's Gospels. You've got big pharma, why hast thou forsaken me? And you've got pharma, into thy hands I commit thy spirit. You know, so this is not the narratives of a person's been executed. You don't. And you know, and they try to say, well, look at all these martyrs that gave their lives because they really believed. So, well, they were fucking enslaved. You stupid fucking motherfucker. And so, a motherfucker is not a non-pejorative. In the case of the Garden of Eden, the inbreeding couldn't have even begun without either the remaining son, Cain, who murdered his brother Abel, or Adam, the first man, fucking and making more kids that go unnamed in the scriptures, or Cain fucks Eve, his own mother. And consequently, the term motherfucker is not meant to be an Aussie G-up. Though, you know, there's argument that in some you get the, yeah, it's contextual, of course. There's relativity on matters of the contextual use of words. I am more than aware of this. What men like my former employers do is take art that you like or art that you've made and represent that it's your portrait of your prescriptive moral imperatives concerning how you view the rightful treatment of others, without any query directly to you. And so It's like why I've made the Mona Lisa references and jokes. It's like, oh, isn't she just sitting? She's saying like, please still frame, still frame people, Big Pharma. Oh, Big Pharma, please still frame. It's golden frame. Oh, it's golden to frame. Oh, and you can just tell that the Mona Lisa is saying that to everybody who's ever looked at it. Obviously. And then the Gospel of John is like, God sacrifices himself to save everybody from himself, which is as good as saying, yep, whoever wrote this story was truly willing to have been inbred from a garden, because there's no more elaborate portrait to say go fuck yourselves than to say God sacrifices himself to save all the people from himself. So yes, that is part of, that's what, a 5-minute discussion. So now I also argue and submit that the write-ups on the health of the bisexual community, because they are the sexuality of Jesus is never discussed. It's said to be supernatural, and supernatural furthermore is even misrepresented as a word to mean like something amazing beyond nature, when it meant things like spit in a wound to heal it in the Bronze Age. It meant the earth is flat with 4 corners and at the exact center of all creation, and the whole universe right in the middle. That's what supernatural meant. Supernatural meant there's no accurate or sufficient explanation in place at this point in time, so it's an admission of ignorance. And so it doesn't mean superannuation plus Super Mario plus Superman plus super duper fucking kids in the garden, fucking whatever they fucking go on about. They do a lot with phonetics and go, supernatural. You're supposed to go, no, but it's really a cop-out of a word. So then if they want to say that Jesus loved everyone and that he'd have to have a sexual health identity, and that sexual health identity would have to be compatible with his profound capacity to love everyone, and the only sexual health identity around today that can do that to a full extent are the bisexuals. So my submission additionally is that the bisexuals are more natural than the idea that there is a fucking shred of truth to the Christian filth, Christian poison, and the fact that what is written up in the write-ups and journals and shit about the bisexual health statistics and community is backed by, for the most part, errancy on the basis of the religiosity of those who are writing up these studies and reports in the first place. Because like Calvary Hospital is a monument to, oh, my morals come from my Christian love and the Queen's punani, and so I want her to sit on my face and give me honors. She can turn the other cheek all she wants. And so because of that, the Queen was obviously a biphobe too, and he's telling everyone to be pro-inbred biphobes, whether there were any acts of incest or not. The ideology is enough to commence a state of sickness and aggression. So it's not to say that bisexuals do not experience aggression. Destroying bisexuals is the closest thing that can happen for Christians to think that their religion was a portrayal of true and actual or rightful, more of the point of chain of events. So they want to reenact and reenact and reenact. And that's about that. Fuck you. So in addendum, the procession, if you can imagine like playing a song over the steps of the narrative of the killing of Jesus. So they start with in the presence of a buyer, they will instinctively, believers, whether at work, move straight into, in principle, verbal demonstrations as plays on the principle of verbal bribing. His mistreatment is the mistreatment of the bisexual corresponds to a sexual thrill in the brains of inbreeders. It's a sexual thrill, and then rise again, second coming, and that shit. But so the principle of the first accostation is an attempt at intellectual bribery. It's playing on the capturing, ensnaring, kidnap. It's things like debased ordering around, being told to do something or perform a certain task because if you don't, you have to be called this or that, pejorative. Your circumstance is dismissed. No inquiry into the actuality of your circumstances occurs to the brain of the inbreeder. And they just, so they'll be like Elizabeth Braden fat and fucking 5 chin, fucking dog, going, accosting you, poof, you're a child of God, poof, you're a child of God, poof. When that was already instantly capital chemist breaking the basis of our initial trust, according to Gary Cairns and my first. And you'll find, so it's always them that want to dig deep into you as if you were a date. Like, in fact, you would speak more politely. Professional boundaries are dropped, and there's a lot done on the sly. But it parallels this, so destroying and then celebrating your destruction. If a bias is in a suicidal state of mind, the inbreeders will get a sexual thrill. If they are Abrahamic faith theologians, they will get a sexual thrill. So all of this, and the killing of a buyer, and then misprescribing of causes, so say admitting that Jesus did not die for you at all, is correcting the misdescription of causes that you think it did. And you're also ignoring that an innocent man was executed, and that you have not eliminated that prospect. So no, people go one way or the other, where they think they've become armed for sociological impact because of religiosity. They slide into various interests in fiction, especially crime fiction, and Fox News true crime stories, which you can also call crime fiction. And the underlining thing is that they have not admitted to crime fiction. That's because it's their faith. If it was your faith to believe that tampons give you the ability to telepathically replenish all your vital organs while commanding the direction and movement of ants, and ants can carry up to 5 times their own mass, more if they were larger. Hallelujah. Please come to our church of tampons, ants, and it makes as much sense as that. It's just that if the Queen says fucking Diana's dead and leave the flag down, then no. I mean, fortunately, she was protested on that front, but she won't be protested on the invasion of 256 countries, and admitting to that in contrast to the prospect that eating an apple would have made her more of a cunt. So they invade 200 countries, but just not that apple, please. Like, fuck. So I think Charles clued in that she was nutty, and that his ears grew out like radars. I've said that a number of times before. But yeah, so this narrative, you'll find it's not and then you notice in your social, the weekend comes and it's like you realize it to be a recovery, because you're not identifying what's wrong about your work circumstances, because it just has repeated too much. So you find avoidance of the authority. It's that, like, what you have to ask. Well, you're an authoritarian figure, but what are you about? And what about this person or that person have you actually ascertained through the asking of questions? So yeah, bribes. Remember that they think that he died to be their savior, and it was a gift to them. So playing on verbal bribery. Oh yeah, I bet you're oh yeah, I bet. And like they'll fang the judgments out and try and do a snatch and grab. Like, something about you. You're either fucking impressive or absolute fucking kill ya. Fucking awesome. Yeah. Like that. Human hasn't considered the ways in which we're like plants. Existentialism is the best philosophical category that confronts you with that. You know, unless I am speaking in a word or an ensemble of words that are already understandable to you, there can be no response triggered in your comprehension of what's been said by me. And so whether you've been shot or talked to, it's all just brainwave activity, and that being unfalsifiable. And then a person going, oh, am I really all alone? So the inbreeder goes, oh no, I can't take it. I need a male god who murders to watch over me while I fuck this familial relation. And the Christians can phonetically express their flirts on their own family, and then fail at relationships in the outer world and wonder why. And why is that? Oh, she was just a cunt. He was just a dick. I'm gonna go back. Oh, hi, Mom. How are you? And yeah, it's truly, Hitler was right about saying Hitler was wrong to kill Jews and harm people, but as for his corporate eating poo, I'll call that his business. I'll say, given it's not interfering with the rights potentially of other people, that plonks into the domain of category of his business. But his utterance of the three words, the Christian poison, perfectly eloquent and appropriate, and that's what it is now. And then the fact that you've got this Abrahamics, and then you've got these Freemasons hiding while thinking and believing to themselves without being subject to the society on the surface, the cross-examination and scrutiny of the society on the surface, while telling themselves that they are unifying everyone. Actually, that it makes them their minds are worse than like a jihadist, activist jihadist. Um, and yes, that's so. Additionally, also too, you'll find that them going, it's just a heartfelt interest of ours to monitor this person from a distance. We believe in our hearts it's the right thing to do without obtaining their consent first. And you know, you started inbreeding in a garden, you're saying, wearing, and you had to hide your shame, which was your reproductive organs, and you conceal them with the wearing of leaves, while and then practice more incest. And now you've grown into a person who has a heartfelt need to violate the rights to privacy of others. Well, look at can you see the line, the geometry there? Like it's no, what did you fucking expect to happen when you said, I want to believe that I'm inbred from a garden? Like there's just fuck yourselves and stay the fuck away from violating privacy rights of others. There are subpoenas, there's ways to track those involved with unconcerned privacy rights. The people I trust and admire, they aren't. Well, my favourite Australian moved, and I grew up and realised trying to leave, and that was a decision I had made myself some time back, because it's just disgusting, religion and what it's doing to people, all because you want to live forever anyway, which in many ways is, I mean, who wants that either? But things are probably better in America, so my interest is going there. But yeah, it's displayed that you can conject, well, if you are non-biphobic, and you have had distance, from these religions, and they started out covering what were their natural evolutionarily endowed reproductive organs intended for non-incestuous relations, instead being told as a story where, you can almost see an embedded confession, like we're so inbred it's disgusting, our genitals are a sign of shame, cover them with leaves. But then that's also been created in a perfect image of dog. So yeah, distance surveying that does get noticed by more sensitive minds does and will occur, and when it does, they get spooked and antagonized but want to do it more. And I would say make like a tree and leave, but given what this backstory, that's only going to make them go, you mean leave, like on a branch? We're branching out to help. Fucking join NRMA, because I don't drive a car. So all Christian inbreeders and theologian inbreeders, I encourage you to please enlist and work for the NRMA, because you do not help me. Theologians, and what I've been writing about recently has explored the question of, it's inspired actually by a theologian's scientist's own statement that he said, whenever I go into the laboratory, I become an atheist. And it meant that he understood how to eliminate his religiosity from the application of his profession. And so I actually I respect that. Problems can be prevented with that type of thinking, but I don't agree with theologians. It's viral in that because, and it's also why they lash out at artists. There's an element of creativity in them they just don't get that they've created. Like if men created concepts, and concepts are the only way that you can be told that a god created you, how, like, were you created by a concept? Are you a concept? What is it? What fuck? So that religion is man-made is something that they don't want to admit to, or else there's too much complexity and fucked upness, and their schemes seem redundant, Bronze Age redundant, like spitting in an open wound to heal it. So they're schemers. Schemers trying to control their little world. I'm not a schemer. I try to show the schemers how ridiculous their plans to control things really are.